Hello and welcome to the channel. So yeah, a little bit late with my reading pile. So I'm a little late with this video, I know. But that's what happens when you get the flu twice within a month. Wouldn't recommend it. Kinda sucked. But now we're here. In the middle of December, there is about a week until Christmas, and I'm just now doing the November reading update. Timing! But at the very least, I did manage to read something in November, so yeah, like a little bit. So there's one book here that isn't a manga. Start with that one. That would be Holy Ivans, the Jane Austen Pocket Bible. Because it's Jane Austen and there is, never a reason not to read. So if you like Jane Austen and all her books, like so this lovely, adorable, fantastic pocket Bible goes throughout every single known novel of Jane Austen and goes through characters, what happens, adaptations, histories of the adaptations. I like it. This does, let's see, this was published in 2010, so it's a little bit old in a way. So there isn't a chapter or any mention of obviously the newest what was it, the Sense and Sensibility film adaptation that I don't think I'm gonna watch. Based on what I've heard from reviewers, it's probably better for me to just acknowledge that it exists and just move on. Talking about moving on, let's move on to the manga, and let's start with the problematic ones. Alright, so let's start with I'm a little hesitant about this. So we're gonna start with Hyoko Kijima's Wildlife. This has a little bit of history. So I first saw it recommended on How to Train Your Dragon. He was doing one of his wonderful reading logs where he was reading a couple of yaoi or BL, boys love, and I have to admit I didn't finish watching the video before I ordered this this thing. If I had finished watching, I probably would not have, because there's a reason why he didn't quite like it. And he's actually gotten rid of his copy. I don't think I'm gonna do that because I live in a small town in Iceland, and I do not want this out there. Okay, so this is a collection of several stories. They are all men's love. And yes, some of them are kind of cute. But there's always like, it's a problematic tone in every one of them. It's always like the first story is extremely problematic. That would be the story of, on the cover, of Lynxman and Goatman. And the android story, it is the android story is extremely problematic because it features androids that are designed to look like boys, young boys, and although most of that story is a flashback to the brothel owners, because yes, the androids are part of a brothel, of course they are, but most of the story is a flashback to the brothel owners' past, and then the story manages to be even creepier. Like, you already have androids made to look like young boys, and then it manages to take a darker turn. Honestly, I kind of wish that the story would simply have taken that ending and made it even darker twist. That would have made it actually horrifically terrifying, but quite a bit more satisfying. As it is, it's just problematic. It's just a little bit disturbing. There is a a story about police officers in a zombie infested reality, where they continue doing law enforcement. I found that story interesting. There's a very problematic one with a teacher and a student. I think he's supposed to be a teacher's assistant, but I don't care, because if you have a teacher, you have a teacher, and I just have a problem with those type of stories. Yeah, no. Problematic. Wouldn't recommend it, honestly. Even if you're curious. And then we get to this series, Sakira's Wild Boyfriend, Boyfriend in Heat, and Sailor Men. Wild Boyfriend. I mean, these are all collections of stories, and I'm gonna say straight off the bat, this is more old-fashioned boys' love stories, more in the period of time when characters were written in a way to justify them having relations. It's problematic, basically. Mostly, I mean, some stories do manage to be sweet, but it's so really problematic when the relationships start off basically being forced, and I can't recommend it. Like, the art here is interesting, it's nostalgic. I just opened on sex, that's okay. On top of that, explicit, just like What Life, these are explicit. 18 plus, mature content, and I mean, the artwork is beautiful, but these stories are do manage to be majorly problematic. So yeah, I can't recommend it. Like, if if I had a section of what boys love manga would I be able to recommend to Gavin, these would not be it. I would actually say avoid these. You have problem with wildlife? Don't not don't go for these. What I would recommend, however, would be Cherry My Destiny by Okage Mochino. This one is cute. There is sex in it that is covered. So mostly this is the love story between a traditional Japanese sweet, I want to say chef, but I think it's baker, and another who is trained in like French sweets, and the love story between these two. And this honestly is sweet. It's sweet. It's just as sweet as the sweets in the story. I do really quite like the artwork. At least I can show this. There were, yeah. If you want a sweet love story, Cherry My Destiny, yes, recommended. And then we got Hanger. Now, Hanger is very interesting. It is a sci-fi. Basically, you got it's futuristic sci-fi, and basically you got the world has been pretty much overrun by this drug, super drugs capable of enhancing the user's physical and mental abilities, and then people abuse it, and fan thing. And what happens is that in this society there are hangers, or criminals, who are enhanced by this drug, and they got insane. I mean, this guy has over 500 years sentence and he doesn't remember what he did. But the deal is that these people who have these hanger abilities, they use their abilities in cooperation with police officers catching other hangers, or drug, yeah, hangers. Let's just go with hangers. I'm confusing myself. And with every successful operation, the hangers sentence is lowered a little bit. And this is a purging love story, but it's also like the story itself is really interesting. Like looking into, seeing how the society works and what is happening is just really interesting. And then we got another couple, a hanger and his handler, and they have sex. If I remember correctly, the main couple share a kiss. But yeah, so this is first, and I have no idea how many stories. I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue this story. I mean, I love the artwork. The artwork is, again, I do this thing where I absolutely judge a manga book by the art. The art needs to be good in order for me to be able to focus on it. If the artwork bothers me, I can't focus on the story. So unfortunately, I have come across stories that have been really, really good, but the artwork just, it was painful for me to try and focus on. So I unfortunately have missed out on otherwise really nice stories. Fortunately, this has a really, really interesting story, in my opinion, coupled with gorgeous artwork. So win-win. Would you recommend this? Yeah, if you would like to read a science fiction futuristic story with a lot of criminals, bit of violence, but yeah. Now, yes. Then we get to, I think, my favorite of this month. We got Haggis, the God and the Flightless Messenger. And this is literally about a god and a messenger whose wings are too small so he can't fly. And this goes a lot into, I think, like Japanese, the concept of Japanese gods, which is quite a bit different from like Nordic gods and Greek gods. It's a little different. It's really interesting, and the story itself is just, I like it. It's a whole story. It has a middle, beginning, ending. It has mysteries. It has answers. It has questions. It leaves questions, but it's really, really satisfying. It's a really, really sweet love story about people rediscovering each other and finding themselves and each other again, and I like it. Another that I quite like is Tento Hayane's The Cat Proposed. This is a cat and this is a human, and this is again another really, really sweet love story. Basically, this guy here, an overworked salaryman, is on the brink of giving up when he stumbles upon a traditional, whatchamacallit? Yeah, traditional Japanese play, presented by this guy. I can't remember what the play itself, that type of play is called. I think it starts with a K. But something strange happens because this guy suddenly seems to turn into a cat, and turns out this guy is a bakaneko, a Japanese cat spirit. So again, we get a really, really wholesome, full story in one volume love story between a cat and a human, like cat spirit and a human, and it's so cute. Like, there's a side character who is like, he's so desperate for any sort of information. Like, one of the side characters is just so wrapped up in the love story between these two guys that he's a little bit annoying to the guys, and I love him. He's adorable. I'm pretty certain that I've known cats like that, and yeah, definitely recommend it. Oh, the ring light is doing the thing. Definitely recommend it. I like this story, not just because it has cats in it, but because the love story is just extremely sweet. Whew. And then we get to the last two. that were recommended by Gavin. That would be Dick Fight Island. Yes, I do need to I do agree with Gavin on this one. It's extremely explicit, but the story is concrete and it's really, really interesting. Basically, we get this world where on these islands that are like mostly male, we get every 4 years they hold a competition where they compete, or representatives of each of the 8 clans compete for right to become king of the islands for 4 years, and they do that with sex. And it's gorgeous. Like, I'm just gonna show you the cover. I have to agree with Gavin. The artwork in this is absolutely gorgeous, and considering the synopsis, basically these guys fight with sex to become king. The story itself is just so good. The plot is extreme. I can't show you. Honestly, there's so much sex in this, but yeah, this story is good. Like the emotions, interplay, relations between people, this person being in love with that character, but they are in love with someone else, and it's just bomb. It's good. And I did also get volume 2. Yeah, this is by Rapon Ike. Ike. I'm gonna say Ike. And Take White Island number 2 shares backstory and continuations of these characters. And yeah, if you read number 1, number 2 is definitely gonna be like revisiting old friends, which is hot. It's so cool. It's so I like it so much. And I keep flipping through pages, and it's just certain actions. Yeah, if you are of age and it's legal in your country and you're interested, then I would recommend Dick Fight Island. It is really, really good stories. But yeah. So those are the books that I did manage to finish reading in November, which I'm really, really proud of, considering, catching the flu. But also the fact that I was participating in NaNoWriMo and succeeded. So yeah. Now I didn't read as much as I was kind of hoping to read, but situations. But I do feel like this was a good experiment. Because I did manage to do English. I can. Because I did want to continue reading in November, and I do feel that the manga did help me, keeping on track with my reading. So I think my goal for 2023 will be to try this again. And yeah, now that I know that it can work, reading some manga during Nano, yeah, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to remember doing that again. And so yeah, that is what I managed to read in November. I thank you for watching, and I sincerely hope that there's something else on this channel that you would be interested in watching. I do this so often with these videos when I'm talking about what I've been reading. Watching videos. Yes. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you again in another video of mine. And until then, take care. Bless.